Yes, and if you did sign in, what I need is your email. That's how we know to get you your, yes. So I'm going to pass it back around. And if you are I think we have pretty much, if you don't think we have your email, write it down. I'm looking at all of you, and I think everybody except I probably Jen doesn't have a current one. Just maybe. I might, yes. Hey, Sue. Front and center, Sue. Come spend some time with me. All right. The talkers need to be up front because they ask the best questions. I know. I've got my, what do you call that, a ringer? I've got my ringer. She's going to ask me all the tough ones. Everybody already knows Freya. And we've got Wolfie here, who's very jealous of Freya because she's kind of rubbing it in his face. We went over restrooms. We went over, you have a ton of handouts in front of you guys. Two of everything that's in front of you, you're going to get via email. So we did this time where we printed the slides with some room for notes for you because there is so much information in here. But you will also get those handouts in a digital copy along with the recording. So you aren't on the recording, but it is recording us. You'll get to listen to it more, and my recommendation is please listen to it again. You will miss things. And then the other two handouts that just came to you, one is questions. If you have questions as we go, and I am talking too fast, I'm going through things too much, or you just really don't want to say it out loud, no worries. You don't have to put your name on there, just write down the question on there. We'll grab them at the end, and I will answer them for everybody, because most of the time, if you want to know, somebody else wants to know too. And then the other one is a comment card. We want to know what we can do better. We bribe you, though. There are gifts for you. Make sure you do pick up your gift bag. I didn't look this time what was in them. There's always really good stuff in them. And you get to try 2 things at the end. I am going to be the mom. I'm always the mom. And my mom said, you don't have to like it, you don't have to finish it, but you do have to try it. Anybody else have a mom like that? Yep, good moms out there. I pickled radishes. I had never had a pickled radish before. I had never done this, and I'm addicted to them. They are so good. So please try a pickled radish at the end. We will help you with that, and homemade kimchi. A lot of what we're going to be doing and a lot of what we're going to be saying, thank you, Kate, is all about getting good microbes inside of you. And I want you to walk away with, I know what inflammation is, I know what it's doing inside of my body, and I know what to do with that. I know how to reverse, prevent, help, eliminate, decrease it by the end of this seminar. So if I didn't answer that for you in your brain directly enough, that's when you ask. He is adorable, Ron. I'm very distracted by cute puppies. I want a show of hands, and I'm not going to intentionally embarrass anybody, but I want a show of hands if you came because you do have some form of inflammation in your own system. Yeah, yeah. Some people just show up just because. We do monthly series seminars. We do this once a month where we educate you on a topic. Every single topic brings full circle to you really do need to do these things in your life every single day. Come to repeated classes. The topic is different. The information is basically the same in a different format. Take good care of this system and it will take care of you. I'm just teaching you ways to take care of yourself. Slow me down if you have questions. How do you do that? Just start speaking, raise a hand, or at least please write it down on the question card, and we can grab those at the end. Second, raising of hands is how many of you out there, not yourself, somebody you know has inflammation in their system. Whether they know it or not, how many people know somebody who has inflammation in their system? Okay, and you guys are looking around, you're like, oh, okay. What percentage of the population is that? Almost everybody. But I can compare it, the US population with inflammation compared to outside of the US, we're the worst. We're the worst, and I'm going to ask and answer that question right away. I'm going to bring you all the information as we go, but you already know this. Why is the U.S. the highest in inflammation rates?
Food.
Yep, you guys know it. Here's my thought process is, it's thoughts, toxins, traumas, physical, chemical, and emotional. And what we term food, I call product. And it took me all the way up until this weekend. We started 6 years ago to try to figure out a word to say, well, you guys have all heard processed food, right? It's not food, right? So processed product. Food is supposed to be wonderful and nurturing and how we gather and we gain so much from it, dirt and soil. Yeah, so we call it processed products. You're putting products inside of your system. If I asked you, if I said to you and put a plate or a sample in front of you and I said, okay, I've got a whole bunch of small amounts of plastic here, and then I'm going to throw some rat poison on top of it, and maybe just a little bit of herbicide, pesticides, you know, the stuff when you're doing your weeds and, you know, that stuff to kill all the, I'm going to put that on a plate. Can you please lick that plate? Okay, or this is what you're putting in your system every single day. It's just that it's packaged and marketed different, isn't it? Does that make sense to you guys so far? Right? Okay, well, we can all go home because that's kind of the answer to everything. But no, because I want to educate you a little bit more. So what's wrong with the system today? Many things. Sue's got a list, yes? And has experienced quite a few of these. So, I know you guys are experiencing this. Where do you go when normally, you guys are more intelligent than the average panda. Where would you go when you're experiencing these symptoms? Into your doctor. Yeah, I just said, yeah, I know. I told you she's in the front row for a reason. Food, product, doctor, physician, or medical practitioner. And those are two different things that I would like to just throw a definition out there for you. I have quite a few patients who say, they will walk in, they will sit down, I hate doctors, I am mad at my doctor, all doctors are bad. And they go, but not you, I don't mean you, not that kind of a doctor. And I'm like, well, no, I think let's change that. If you aren't a doctor or a physician that is healing that person, that is helping and educating that person, then you're a pharmacist. Yes? No? Is this making sense? And so the system is broken. What we're already experiencing is broken. How do we fix that? Educate, right? Start doing some research. A little harder and a little more convoluted now, but I will help as we go through. I want to help out with this. How many people have gone to the doctor and they were on time? Medical physician, medical provider. How many people have gone to their medical provider and were able to get in within a day or two? How many people have been to their medical provider and that appointment was on time? How many people went to, no, you keep going. How many people went to a medical provider and they sat down and they did a full history with you and went and evaluated what you eat, how you exercise, how you sleep, all of your movement, and did a full analysis, not individual labs, did a full analysis, functional analysis on you. That's what I call a doctor, and that everybody should have one. A step above that, and I see it happening more and more, you should know all these things yourself. And I am an advocate for anatomy and nutrition and exercise need to be taught in every single school as a standard. But short of that, our system is a little bit broken. So by educating, by being here tonight, you guys are already starting to shift the weight and change our broken system. So step goal met. So thank you. I'm going to ask a lot of questions tonight. Because we started out with a show of hands experiencing inflammation, and I don't necessarily, it doesn't need to be these things, but of those hands that went up that experienced inflammation, how many people tried some things to fix that? Yeah, and there's lots of them out there. The one thing I can say on this slide is that there is not one fix for everything. You can't just do one thing and fix everything. It never works. And I'm hoping to explain why, but what's happened right now is if you are on any social media, this one thing is going to fix your whole world, right? This one tea, this one supplement, this one exercise, this one drink, this one app is going to change your whole world. Part of the reason I'm telling you this is because it never works unless you put in the work. Human nature is take the least path of resistance and do the least amount of work. It's human nature. It's not necessarily even being lazy. If there's an easier, more efficient way to do it, we want it. We're always looking for that. That's our the root of our system. That's kind of how we are wired. But I'm telling you, you do have to put the work in. Questions so far? Okay, you guys hopefully are following along. So, never one thing that will fix everything. Of the things that people usually try, it usually is just doing one thing. Yes?
I do have a question.
Yes, I love questions. Thank you.
So tight muscles, is that inflammation caused or is that something else?
It never is just one thing causing it either, never fixing one thing or causing it. And you're kind of segueing me to probably the slide that's coming up pretty quick. And so, yes and no. Is muscle spasm inflammation? Yes. And I will repeat this slide when I get to it. Inflammation is either acute, which is recent and doing the right thing in your body, or chronic. And so you can have overworked, overstrained, oversprained, and then you will have that inflammation in there and pain associated with it. That's a signal to your brain. That's the body doing the right thing though. And so it's working on, okay, let's bring new cells in there and let's clear that all out of there and fix that. It's when the body doesn't clear that out and it stays in there, that's called chronic inflammation. And chronic inflammation is the thing that your body gets stuck in that cycle that it's not doing correctly. So that's the question I'm going to answer tonight is, okay, I've got this. I've got the bad version of that. Where is it coming from and what do I do about that? Lots of people try different things. Here's what this really feels like that forces you into trying something. People go around feeling really crappy and in a lot of pain for a long amount of time. What puts them over the edge is they're not able to do something they love. I'm not able to go for walks. I can't get my mail. I can't pick my grandchild up anymore. I can't garden. I'm looking around and I'm pegging some of you on this. Then you say, I need to do something about this. I really need to actively do something about this. You are sitting here being proactive, okay? Which I greatly appreciate. That is what our wellness practice is about, is helping you brush your teeth before the cavity gets there rather than waiting till you have a cavity and then starting to brush your teeth. So we are doing that tonight. What does inflammation feel like in the body? Pain. But it also affects other parts of your body. So that chronic inflammation inside your system builds up toxins that create brain fog, that create that puffiness, that create that fatigue. We're going to go through and explain how the kind of mechanism of all those things. But what this is not simply chronic inflammation, it's chronic fatigue also. But those things are interchangeable. Once something becomes chronic, your body is stuck in a sympathetic response, in that fight or flight mode, and it's stuck in that mode and it can't get out of it unless you actually do some things. Your body is literally stuck in that. I want to remind everybody that your body is actually genetically designed to be healthy. The percentage of genetic illnesses out there is like 0.03%. And so very unlikely in the group that we have here that anybody has a genetic illness. Part of the reason I bring that up is to give you the definition between genetic and epigenetic. Genetic is your genes, your DNA, that is determining what color your eyes are, what your height will most likely be. But even when I say height, right, if you were fed good raw milk, are you going to be taller and your bones stronger?
Yes, that's the difference between genetics and epigenetics. Epigenetics are controlled by our environment. We all have switches or genes inside of us. Epigenetics determines whether we turn those genes on. Some of them are good. The genetics of your eye color, you're not going to switch that. But the genetics of how tall you're going to be, you can switch that. But I want to take that a step further and describe when patients come in and they say, because we ask about family history, and they say, I have a family history of breast cancer, I have a family history of diabetes, I have a family history of obesity, I have a family history of what could be chronic fatigue, could be many different illnesses. Those aren't genetic illnesses. Those are epigenetic environmental factors that you do have much control over, that you can change so that those things do not become an illness inside your body. And that's what we're going to go over tonight. I'm going to pause for a second. Any other questions so far? These things are your body talking to you. This is the communication. This is the language your body talks. It's talking to you and it's telling you things. We just, instead of listening to those things, we think that they are a disease in and of themselves. And so we want to stop or limit or stop listening to those things when we feel like that, instead of figuring out what the root cause of those things is, treating that, and then the symptoms go away. And to kind of repeat that, symptoms are your body's signs and form of communication. Your body is talking to you. We're very good at ignoring that voice. I want you to be good at listening to that voice rather than waiting until it has to scream. Many times what ends up happening is that those symptoms are like you having a fire smoldering. The smoke alarm starts going off, and instead of putting that fire out, you're pulling the batteries out of the smoke alarm. That's what taking the ibuprofen is when something's achy or painful. I can give you many examples, but I need you to get the analogy so you understand where I'm going with the recommendations. So this is what I'm talking about. Symptoms are they're not the disease in and of themselves. An example is, and you have several in front of you, we're going to go over in a minute. You've got high blood pressure, high cholesterol. You've also got something on colonoscopies in front of you. But I do want to point out high cholesterol, it's kind of like saying food or product. High blood pressure, like saying food or product. Those two things are not diseases. I'm just going to give you those examples. We're going to go over some of the research in a little bit. High blood pressure and high cholesterol. My family's history of cholesterol is about 280 to 300. That's my family's normal range. And we're going to go over normal ranges also. Same thing with high blood pressure or blood pressure. If I just did 8 mountain climbers burpees, but let's say I just did 20 of them right now in front of you, do not ask me to do that. And I hopped up, otherwise I'm dragging you with me. I hopped up and you took my blood pressure, where would it be? Yep. Is that my body doing the correct thing?
No.
Why is that different when you're going into the medical provider and they're taking your blood pressure? Why is that any different? Why are you not asking, why is my blood pressure up? I would like to know, has anybody ever had that question answered? Gone in, had high blood pressure, and the medical provider says, this is why. And then now, this is what we're going to do about it.
I'm sorry, but most of the time, by the time they get to take your blood pressure, you've sat there for 45 minutes.
Stress level is already up, so
And
yeah.
it's just, yeah,
What's the answer they usually do give you to high blood pressure?
something about salt.
Ooh, thank you, Sue. I will talk about salt. Yeah, sometimes dependent on where it is.
Stress level.
Yeah, they might give you that indicator.
You never told me that one.
Yeah, yep, they might be giving you that indicator, and then are they giving you the tools to take care of those things?
Drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, medication. And that's why I gave you the research. The medication is pulling the batteries out of the smoke alarm, isn't it? Rather than taking care of the problem. I'm going to circle back around to what Sue said about salt. Somebody here has to know this. If you are in cardiac arrest, that blood pressure is skyrocketing and you're taken into the emergency room, do you know what the first thing that they do for you is? They may, I hope they would. They hook you up to an IV, and what are they giving you? Saline. What is saline? Help me.
You said it, magnesium.
Yeah, they do, they may, but it's usually just a saline, just to immediately lower that blood pressure. What was that?
So dehydration.
Many times, very much can. It's that pH balance within your system, but I'm gonna kind of answer that question a little bit more along with the magnesium. What it is mineral deficiency. You need those minerals in your body. What we call table salt, literally they're saying table salt. The table salt that they say if you have high blood pressure you shouldn't put salt on things. But you hear me saying the opposite, but I'm really not. I am saying that same thing. Don't put that table salt on anything. That's a chemical. Your body doesn't know what to do with that. What your body does is raising the blood pressure to try to get it out of the system quicker. Of course that's bad for you. But mineral salt with all the minerals in it, good natural Celtic sea salt, will lower your blood pressure, will mineralize your body, will balance that pH. Also has magnesium in it. It has many different minerals in it. That stuff's fantastic for you. Put it on everything. Your body knows exactly what to do with it.
Is that the same as Himalayan pink salt?
It is very similar, yes. There's more minerals. Here's the yes and no. The yes and no is of once corporate America figures out, oh, the US has figured out what helps them, then they grab it and they market it. And so it's easier to find good natural Celtic sea salt than it is true Himalayan pink salt. The true Himalayan pink salt does have good minerals in it. Both are good, you just need a quality source of them. And this one's been frustrating for probably the last 2 or 3 years. As soon as I have a really good one, I recommend to patients, usually through Amazon, and I hate to do that, but I need the ease. After about 2 or 3 months, I can't find it anymore. It's like discontinued. I'm like, what? No, what's, but, so.
C90 is a really good one. They have a human version of it. They use it for
Beautiful.
animals and stuff.
Okay.
So you can go onto their website and it should be in ready supply.
CC90.
C90.
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 Thank you. You guys are all taking notes. I need to take a note too.
That's a brand name? Or what?
It's a brand name. It's
Okay.
used for like livestock and stuff. But they've got a human version of it, which is essentially the same thing. I mean, you could take this stuff for livestock. It's
Yeah.
great stuff. It's
That
just,
could teach
it's
them.
lower
Yeah.
in aluminum than a lot of your other ones, like your Redmond salts and different things like that. And so like C90 would be a very good resource for a lot of natural trace minerals.
Thank you, Matt. He makes a really good point. If you can't find a chiropractor and you need some really good care, go find a vet, right? Knowledgeable wise, and many of the things that are animal safe are actually a much better grade than definitely what you're going to walk into the grocery store and find. So just kind of a side note. But yes, thank you. This is awesome. Okay, here's also what Matt was asking about, acute versus chronic. There is good inflammation. You have a cut, a sprain, a cold, something going on. Thank you, Ellen. Your body's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. I'm just going to slide in a little lab note here. So if you have actively an acute condition going on, and I do some blood work, which called SED-rate, I do some blood work on your system, that inflammation is going to be high. Don't take those batteries out of the smoke alarm. It's supposed to be there. It's when it's chronic and been in there for a long, long time that we need to do something about it and clear it out of the system. It's like sludge. It's inflammation visually is kind of like having a whole bunch of sandburrs going around all over in your system when it's chronic. And those little sandburrs are causing more irritation, which is causing the perpetuation of that inflammation, which is just generalizing so you get kind of an analogy that locks into your head. What I can say though is where this chronic inflammation is coming from is it's kind of there. We'll get to that slide. We'll go so that I can give you this information as we go. So what chronic inflammation looks like, we already said kind of those symptoms, but what it does to your system is low energy, right? You're always fatigued, you can sleep and wake up and you're still exhausted and tired. That brain fog, you can't focus. Joints all stiff, achy, sore, swollen. You're not sleeping, you're restless. Is this pretty much just everybody in here most of the time, a lot of times, or people that you know? What I want to point out is that there are 4 different specialties that you could go to for this. And that's oftentimes what ends up happening is you start at your primary and they go, well, let's do a sleep test. You start at your primary and they may say, well, let's do a SED rate. They may say, let's start you on an SSRI. They may say, but that's not looking at you as a whole being. You are one whole being that everything works together, which 4 different labels, 1 underlying process to that. We're going to get to a little bit more of that information. All of the systems in your entire body are run by one master system. Anybody know what that one master system is?
Your nerves.
Yes, thank you. Yes. There's one question
I
that
went to know that a couple months ago.
Yeah, you can tell who comes to more than one class. It's obvious once I say it, right? You need your nervous system to be talking to everything else. What we now know is that this talks this way a lot more than this talks this way. But this is a relay station that is required. If this doesn't work, I like to think about it, if you guys remember Chris who used to work here, she had a great analogy. The nervous system is like a garden hose to your garden, and you put a kink in that garden hose, the garden starts to wither, right? You're the garden, you guys are the garden. If you don't have any water, that system starts to wither. And also, just as a side note, when chiropractors who open that water faucet or that hose up, we let that nervous system flow again, a lot of times you notice an increase in systems because the water shoots out really quickly first before it goes at that regular flow. But that nervous system or that water flow to the entire garden is required, right? I cut the water off, which kind of, we need more rain, but I cut that water off. You can pull the weeds, you can throw fertilizer in there, you can re-till it, you can replant. Is anything going to grow in that garden if you don't have your nervous system working? I just need to fully make that point because I wish I would have started 30 plus years ago when I started in chiropractic and recorded. I still ask this question, but I wish I would have recorded. What do you think chiropractors do? Any best guesses out there? I kind of gave you what we do right now, but I have had some really weird answers. Some really interesting weird answers. The most common one, cracks backs. Yes? You guys hear this one? Cracks backs. I get it. It's addicting. I love that noise. I love putting things back into place. Yes. What we do, I know. What we do is we take the impingement, the pressure, the irritation off of the nerve so your body can heal itself. You guys give us way too much credit. All we're doing is taking away the interference. You're putting all the good foods in. Your genetics are healing. We're just taking away something that's interfering with your body's own natural way to do that. What that is called, and this is a really important one for tonight because I'm going to drop a word that I hope you hear more and more. That's called vitalistic care. Chiropractic is vitalistic care. And vitalistic care is just what I described. Vital is in there for a reason. It is required for life. That's what chiropractors do. And again, if you have any funny stories to tell me about what you thought chiropractors do, I'm happy to. I should start to record them, but I do want to know about those because those are kind of fun. All right, so I've given you a base now. We're going to do a little bit of work. If I can go forwards. You heard me talk about labs earlier. This one's super important. Going into your medical provider, how many people have yearly appointments? Yearly physicals? And at that yearly physical, do they do blood work? Do they do labs?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Any best guesses on what kinds of things those labs show? You have a whole list, you're just going through it. Did you tell me again, Barb, what did you?
Well, they take lab work, seeing if you're diabetic. You know,
So
your
the
sugar
little
level,
A1C, yep,
and
yep.
then your blood pressure, you know, your,
Yep.
all that.
Cholesterol.
cholesterol, yeah.
cholesterol, yep,
You know, just the basics, you know, D and things
Yep.
like that.
yeah, they do.
Give
They're-
them 2D if you don't ask.
Yeah, they don't
Oh,
usually, you
probably
do, yeah.
not, yeah.
But good to ask, absolutely. The more information, the better. Always the more information, the better. But they are looking for diseases, aren't they? They're not looking for health. They're looking for the disease. And then I have to point out that, so cholesterol is a really easy one for me to pull up. Most people know blood pressure, cholesterol, and a lot of times you know TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone. Cholesterol, what's the standard normal for cholesterol?
Under 200.
Yep, thank you, Joe. It's perfect. Under 200. So is that for you and for him and for her and for? No. Should it be? No, it should be based on genetics. It should be based on gender. It should be based on age. Yes? And a side note also, if you pull out your cholesterol, what is the number one indicator of a healthy immune system, and what does your body require for a healthy immune system? Cholesterol, right? Your cholesterol is too low, your immune system is tanked. Okay? I don't know how everybody doesn't know that information. Everybody should know that information. How about standard blood pressure? Anybody know what a standard blood pressure is?
200.
120/80.
120/80, unless they have a little bit of a variance for children and athletes. Those are what we're taught. I'm taught the same thing that the medical professionals are. Those are the standards. Should that be the standard normal for everybody? And then TSH, it kind of depends on where the labs are that you're sending things to also, but the laboratories only vary a little bit each. They're standardized. So TSH normally is about, most labs are about a 0.5 to maybe a 5.2 is the normal range. One normal range. Again, is gender taken into consideration? Is age taken into consideration? Is specifically females, what stage you are in your menstrual cycle, or what phase you are in that taken into consideration. You have to go to an endocrinologist to dive a little bit deeper, but what I want to point out with that is when you go and get your yearly and you're looking at that, there are 3 things it says: normal, low, or high. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
It's what, thanks, not very effective and not a ton of good information. Yes? What my recommendation, and we're going to go over a little bit of it tonight, is what's called functional labs. I started out by saying usually until function is interrupted, you can't pick those grandkids up, you can't garden, you don't do anything about it until then. Well, functional labs look at underlying things to direct us to take care of them before they actually become a disease or an illness. That's what's called prevention. But to me, that's what's actually called health. That is health, not looking for a disease and not waiting until that disease is there to start worrying about not even fixing it, to start pulling the batteries out of those smoke alarms. Questions? Yes?
Where do you get functional labs?
Oh, I should put you in the front row. We're 2 slides away.
Okay.
Thank you. So yes. Yeah, I have so many patients, and I don't mean to say I don't want your labs. I love seeing your labs. The biggest benefit to me is if I get a trend lab, and usually your my chart will have trends. Bring them in, show them to me. I love that information. It gives me an idea of where things are going. But I have to functionally then hunt things down because it's just one tiny little piece of your body. It's one tiny little smoke signal that's coming out, and it doesn't consider or take a look at all of you. So I don't like chasing symptoms. I do always listen to you. We do a full and complete evaluation, and I oftentimes make recommendations for labs. But we look at you as a whole system. And part of what the philosophy here in the clinic is, and part of what the vitalistic philosophy is to take care of you as a whole system. Do not walk in the door, probably could put back a dislocated shoulder. I have put back a dislocated shoulder before. I don't want chainsaw accidents. I don't want, okay, so, emergency care, there is a place for, do not come here. Everything else, this is a great start. And I love small town. I love small town. That is the way it should be. Okay? And I wish there were a ton of small town doctors. I think people say medical providers as doctors, and corporate America has completely wiped that out. Thank you, Dr. Chris Wenner in Cold Spring. Separate from that, he is holding his own in there, and there are a couple of dotted little ones, but that is a rarity, isn't it? And I really do think unless you have face-to-face access with who you want to determine your physician to be, to work on your health with you, unless you have access to that person, they're not your doctor. Okay? They're just checking labs and giving meds is really what ends up happening. And I would like to not just steer you, I want to kick you full over the edge into that realm, hopefully to understand that and to speak to others about it. So, to your question. I was gonna say it's cut off on the edge. You guys should have it on yours. It just says we don't believe in guessing with your health. There are 4 QR codes there. Part of the reason I put them up here is so that you can see what the 4 main labs are that we do. We haven't even touched on the fun nutrition piece yet. I'm trying to get through this stuff fast because this is important to build the base. And then we will do the answers in a second. GI comprehensive profile. This is called the poop test. Your poop has so much great information in it. It is fantastic. Do we collect it? No, it's a home kit. We do not want your poop. I get pictures. We have people go through a gallbladder liver cleanse, and you see that sludge, you see all of that stuff in the stool. We do get poop pictures, but this kit is all 4 of these tests, home tests. You deal with the poop, you send it in, I just get on the paper. Not toilet paper, I just get the regular paper information. This gives me so much functional information. This is preventative. I'm gonna circle back around to colonoscopies, and one of the things that I wanna point out, when you are getting a colonoscopy, there's several tests that they say at this age you need this. That's already looking for disease too late, right? How about if you thought you needed that test, why don't we change what happens, which is your gut microbes. Why don't we change that so you don't get the polyps, the tumors, the masses, the cancers, I have yet to see, and I've seen a lot of colonoscopies, I have yet to see one that says, ooh, let's check out the microbiome in there. What are those little bugs doing? It does look for inflammation, but by then it's already too late, and the answer isn't, let's put good microbes in there. We're gonna go over that. This tells me what's going on in there before we have to look at any of that other stuff. Yes.
How effective are you in changing that microbiota within your system if it's disbalanced, not proper, in terms of like the distributions or the presence of microorganisms and stuff, outside of doing like a fecal microbiome transplant?
Which is fantastic, and we call it poop soup, and that's not such a hard thing to do at home. But the first answer to that would be, does anybody know what your appendix was meant to do? You were never born with extra organs. Some people kind of are, but your appendix has a really critical function in your body. Now that I've said that, in answer to this question, best guess on what your appendix says?
Something with the microbiome.
Yup.
Kept you in balance.
Yeah, it's hanging out there with everything that you were basically constructed with, all of your personal individual, and there are no 2 people alike. All of your own personal, you get a lot from your mom, but your personal microbiome is stored inside your appendix. In nature, we get sick. We get sick, and this stuff gets just blasted out of us sometimes, and the appendix says, ooh, here's some, let's repopulate. So,
Interesting.
Well, they sure like to take that little organ out.
and
Yes.
lots of different organs. I should do a whole class on people who do not have gallbladders. I'm not going to even look anybody in the eye right now. That is a really critical one, and I have a whole class on that. So I'm not going to go down that whole rabbit hole. there are definite ways to reculture this. And I think because I'll keep this slide up, I am gonna go off onto some of the next slides to kind of go into the answer to that question, because you're asking. There are, I really don't like to say it this way, but it is simplifying things and yet effective to say there are good and bad guys in your gut. If you eat, oh no, let me back up. Do you know that there's a coffee bacteria, there's a coffee bug? There's a bug that waits inside of our system, if you have a good, diverse system, that just waits there for coffee. Once it has coffee, it goes, ooh, I'm gonna reproduce. There's one in there for radishes. There's one in there for, give me a food, for
Sugar.
those are the bad guys. Getting to that, but for honey. There is one in there for honey. All of those good guys are in there when you have a diverse microbiome. So whatever you put in, they go, ooh, we get this today. The more diverse, which the latest research, the number is 30. You need 30 different plants in a week to feed all of that diverse microbiome in there. Yeah, that's just the minimum, right? And most people don't even get close. I'm gonna take just a moment and I want you to think of what you've eaten today. Yeah, anything that was a plant. Remember, coffee is actually a plant. If you're drinking good coffee, not filters, it's not coffee.
I changed.
Thank you.
My husband was good with it. He said, oh, this tastes pretty good.
Yes, thank you. Yes, if you guys are wondering, we make recommendations. We do have a full kitchen here. Many times we'll give you, because we get the, I will only eat. I'm like, just try this. They're like, oh, that's even better than, yes, good real food is better. But, so what, 30 divided by 7, what, just 4 or 5? You should have plants in a day of different plants. Easiest way is, it's Minnesota, grow herbs, right? Throw those in, dried or fresh, but put those in. Your body needs that. It needs to be fed. You've heard it as eat the rainbow. I hope you've kind of heard that. And change out everything that you're eating. Your body doesn't like the same thing every time. But the point that I'm trying to make is that diverse microbiome loves real food. The products do one of two things inside of your system. And products, I mean the bad stuff, the sugar, the processed food or ultra processed products you put in your system, your body actually can break some of that down. That's the bad guys. That's the bad guys that want to eat that stuff. You can starve them out by only feeding the good guys. They eat it all up. There's nothing left for the bad guys. But the bad guys actually do, I'm calling them bad guys, but they have a reason to be there, because otherwise, if we don't always have the perfect diet, you will pass away because of lack of. So these bad guys, when there's some bad stuff and the good guys don't eat all of the stuff up, then the bad guys get some of that, but we want the good guys to be a larger number than the bad guys. I'm generalizing this just to give you kind of a visual. Most people have seen this story, many cultures have this story, is of,
For you feeding.
yep, which wolf are you feeding? You knew it, thank you. Yeah, feed the good wolf. And so the good food in there, kind of the 80-20 principle, if you are always feeding that, those bad bacteria, those bad guys are just lying dormant in there. But if you change that up and it's ultra processed product you're eating, you're feeding these bad guys are addicted to that and hungry, and what they end up doing inside your system is they create inflammation so that you crave more bad stuff. They're setting you up for that. We need to use our brain on what we're eating and make smart decisions. But this inflammation that ends up occurring when the bad guys are fed, you guys are with me so far? This inflammation is just like what happens in Minnesota. You get a mosquito bite, feels good to itch it, doesn't it? What happens when you itch that mosquito bite? It swells up, right? What is that? That's inflammation. But it feels good to keep scratching, doesn't it? It's hard not to. That's what's happening internally. Just so I'm giving you a visual, I'm not saying literally that's what happens. somewhat literally. So you need to not feed those bad guys, but it's tough because those bad guys have a direct link to your brain and say, ooh, how about some more sugar?
And then, wow.
Uh-huh, let's scratch that itch. Most of the time I will tell patients, and after saying that, you'll get it, we're addicted to and crave what we're allergic to and shouldn't have. Because what happens is, as soon as you put something in your body that it's not supposed to have, it kicks out adrenaline. Let's get rid of this quick. We love adrenaline, right? So that creates that addictive behavior and that addictive pattern. You just have to consciously not feed those bad bugs. Is that making sense? That is really the summation of everything I'm telling you. I just need to teach you a little bit more about what good bugs and bad bugs are. Those good bugs, remember me saying that pathway for information, they have now recorded a minimum of 200 times. I did see one study that said 1,000 times. More information goes this way than goes that way. They now know they can take a little microbiome sample and tell you what mood you're in. This determines how happy, sad, depressed, angry, frustrated, anxious, joyous. This determines what that is. Quite literally, feeding the good guys means that your whole system will be happy. I see head shakes. That one's super, super important. It's also super tough because those bad guys are yelling at you all the time, aren't they? Those donuts taste so good, that pizza tastes so good. But once you have gotten to the point, when you're in chronic inflammation, you're just scratching that itch. Once you've cleaned that system out, and you do that 80-20 rule, when you mess up, your body immediately tells you. You usually, when you're in chronic pain, you're always in chronic pain. This is your norm. When you feel good, and then you notice the difference, then you're like, oh, yeah, I know exactly what I shouldn't have eaten, right? It makes a huge difference. Oh, she is my timer. Okay, she literally does know. Questions so far? Okay, the next test, so that's the poop test. That's that one. All the information on these tests, that's why I gave you guys the QR codes. You get more information, so I don't have to go into it in detail. The Dutch test, that's for hormones. It's actually the dried urine panel. So we tell full system product, your body has processed all those hormones, what are happening with them. That's usually my female crew because we have so many people out here with this. Very accurate functional testing. The bottom left, 3x4 genetics. Not one that I do too often, but it does genetically give me a ton of great information. It tells me, are you a quick recoverer? So are you easily injured? Should you eat these foods? Can you have caffeine? It gives me some basis for how you are genetically designed so you can follow that path. I can tell you, you know you shouldn't have donuts, right? We do not need the genetic test to tell us that. But it's still great information. And the last one is when I get stuck and every once in a while will bump up on a ceiling where I'm frustrated, the patient's doing everything they needed to do, we're doing everything that we needed to do, and they still are experiencing the symptoms that are frustrating in there, there's something hiding. And then I'll go through and I'll do a toxic nutrient elements and I'll figure out if there is something in there that's toxic that we need to clear out and drain out of the system. And then it kickstarts the system and the body really starts moving the right direction. You need a few things besides just putting in good food. Your master system in your body is?
Nervous system.
Thank you so much. Please get adjusted. Please make sure there's no interference on that nervous system, or you can eat the most perfect, wonderful, healthy diet and you're not going to get where you want to go. The next one is movement, and most people understand this as exercise, super important. But there's also this thing called the lymph system. The lymph system does not pump on its own. The only way stuff moves out of your lymph system is through movement. Just even walking, even stretching has to clear things out. We are a sedentary society. We do not move anymore. And so our lymph starts to get full, builds up chronic inflammation. That literally is what inflammation is in the system. So keep everything moving, and nutrition is really what we're going to dive into in just a minute. The reason for chiropractic, take the interference away. We already went through that because I'm passionate about it. Movement for your lymphatic system. It moves when you move. If you have sinus stuff, people are telling me allergies are bad right now. This I don't think is allergies. I think it's on the hind legs of all the smoke, because we've had a ton of patients in this stuff going on. Drain your lymph system. If I've ever worked on your sinuses, you know how that feels. Literally just move that, just start moving that stuff on your own. Move that stuff out of there. Your lymph system, Google it, pretty easy. We call it the soft tissue areas. You can do what's called dry brushing, many different ways to clear it out of the system, but movement is key to that.
So you're saying to physically massage it?
Yes.
Okay.
Clear that stuff out of there. You can, if I get a tickle in my throat, I literally will I'll start doing this. You'll start feeling it drain and you'll start swallowing it. And I'm like, oh, good to go, done, yeah. Catch it before it starts. Don't wait until it's a 5-alarm fire. Catch that stuff before it starts. This, I need a whole other hour on. Nutrition is the huge piece. But you're now already understanding is get rid of the stuff that isn't food. Anything ultra-processed product does not belong inside of you. That's a plate of plastics and pesticides and all the just horrible stuff you do not want to put in your system. Just don't. Understand that once you literally walk out this door, anything you're exposed to is marketed to you. And it's not marketed to you to make you healthier, is it? That's not where the profits come from. And so one thing does not fix everything. You need chiropractic, movement, and nutrition, but know that that nutrition piece of it is super important. Super important. Food is so wonderful.
So remember when you did the food grocery store tour?
Yes, I love
So this would be a good point to put, you wanna visit the outside of
Yes.
the grocery store.
Yeah, thank you, Deb. We've done it a couple of times. My favorite ever class to do is that. We'll go to small towns and we'll go into the grocery store with a group of people. We'll take a shopping cart and we will educate as we go throughout the whole grocery store. We'll usually start, it's hard to talk to more than like 7 or 8 people in that setting, but by the end there's like 20 people, because people cool. It's like some kind of a walking tour going on and they follow us around. We also, one of my tricks is we'll go to the vegetables and I will grab, usually they're up a little bit higher. Did I do this when you were? Yeah, I'll grab something off the front and ask people what it is. And I'll usually grab parsnip or rutabaga or something like that. Patients are like, I've never seen that before. It's been here all along. What do you do with it? You eat it. Yeah, so yes, you should, the bulk of what we should be putting in our systems just needs to be food. When we say processed, so thanks for segueing this slide for me. When we say processed, people will do, if it doesn't occur in nature and you couldn't walk outside and just pick it, you shouldn't be eating it. So it might be a 1 ingredient food, but it's in a can and that can is coated with plastic on the inside, right? Or no, it was flash frozen in a plastic bag, you're gonna microwave it. It's not a food anymore, that actually is processed. It does take a long time to rewire and redo, just because it was probably 1940s, 1950s was the last generation that actually cooked. It will be just maybe 5 minutes. She is my timer. That actually grew, harvested, and cooked their own foods. It just really doesn't happen anymore, but that's the only thing we should be eating. And I can tell you, it's not that hard to do. Yes.
In the vegetable section and stuff, does it have to be organic or does not?
Oh, I love that question, Barb. Those foods actually have, yes. An example would be if you start biting down on broccoli, it actually releases, because if a bug attacks broccoli out in the wild, starts chewing on it, It releases some stuff to push the bug away and to an antioxidant and to help protect the broccoli. We get all that wonderful stuff when we chew broccoli. So apple peel, carrot peel, potato peel, all those things, the peeling or the outside actually has the most nutrients in it. When we weigh, I usually say apple or McDonald's hamburger. There are probably a lot of pesticides on here, but please eat this before you eat this. You're fine. There's a really easy way to wash pesticides, herbicides, and stuff off of, but those things that are grown like that they're not as nutrient dense. They don't have as many nutrients in, but better than pink slime, better than the McDonald's. Quick side note, I just use like 1 drop of it's all natural dish soap, but 1 drop of dish soap and about 2-3 tablespoons of baking soda and then vinegar in a tub sink of water to rinse all of my stuff off before we eat it. Yes, please get organic when you can. Yes, please support people who are actually growing food. But I have to find some happy distance between my 12-pack of Mountain Dew and McDonald's, and they say, isn't Subway healthy? I'm like, oh, not food. Not food. And so organic or not organic, I tend not to answer, and I say, please just be at least eating the fruits and veggies there. 5 times more vegetables than fruits. Fruits are a treat. Darn it.
They are a treat, I will admit, they are a treat.
They are a treat, yes. So is dark chocolate, a plant. Over 70% dark, please. But again, anything like that in limited quantities. And what ends up happening, so that leads into this slide, is corporate America has designed the ultra-processed product so that it bypasses all of our natural signals. So additives in there, flavor enhancers. We call it the flaming hot Cheeto response. I see kids eating those Takis and it's not even phasing them because they had to level it up. This wasn't hot enough. They had to do something more and more hot because their taste buds are killed in there. They're not even recognizing it. The level of stimulus needs to get higher and higher. I can tell you that my palatability, when I eat different carrots, I'm like, ooh, high iron content in that soil, nice. You should be able to taste that, right? In the vegetables that you're eating. If you're not, you probably have been eating flaming hot Cheetos. You've probably been eating foods that are they have a ton of additives and preservatives to make them like intense flavor. You don't need that. If you're just eating good food, you will have joy and taste. Part of the reason I point this out is it's really hard to get people to start eating vegetables if they're eating processed product all the time because they're like, it doesn't taste like anything to me. I'm like, yeah, I get that. You have to work your way to that. That's that hyperpalatability. Things are actually they have whole labs designed for that fat and salt and sugar combination to make it trigger your brain to crave more. Right? That's a stimulus to our brain. Those foods are designed so you crave more. They're also designed so they're easy to eat. So your body doesn't have to slow down and chew it or digest it. And so you can get it in really quickly. You're bypassing your brain's like, I don't even know what just happened. And so it never registers that you're full. It never registers that you're even eating. Those things just go right into your system. And they are so calorie dense that all of the good stuff has been stripped away and they're just marketing to calories. Calorie scientifically is a term, but when it comes to food, when they talk about calories, you guys have all been trained, all of us have been trained that calories was put out there as a way to market, not as something you should understand that that's how I want to eat foods. I want to keep it under this many calories, or I need this many calories to lose weight. Throw that out there, and I oftentimes say, my coffee has almost 3,000 calories in it, and sometimes I'll have 2 of those in a day. If it's food, you're going to burn it, right? That's perfect. There's a difference between a handful of candy and a handful of almonds or a handful of broccoli. If I have the same amount of calories, which should I be eating? Your body knows what to do with almonds and broccoli. It doesn't know what to do with these calories. If that doesn't hit home, that just throw away the calorie portion of counting things. Just eat food. That's the piece that really needs to hit home. The stuff that you're given, all the water is stripped away and all of the fiber. You're not eating whole foods anymore. Foods or things in nature were meant that they were whole. There's a reason they're called whole foods. Everything is there so that you're actually eating that whole thing, which was meant for all the nutrients, all the fiber. If there is one thing that I would say would help regulate systems the most, get in minimum of 15 grams of fiber in a day. Most people are so fiber deficient, and there's only one way to pull all that crap out of your system. Specifically for females, we have a whole bean protocol. The best source of fiber, organic black beans. But we have a whole bean protocol to pull all of those excess hormones and excess stuff that ends up, how are they? Getting stuck inside your small intestine. Fiber, fiber, fiber. We're getting very close to the end. You do have a meal plan in front of you. I think 5-day, probably anti-inflammatory. It's just an idea to give you some thoughts on is this doable? Can I actually eat food? Yeah, here's a whole meal plan, just of food. I don't mean to be negative or depressing about this, but I can say the average person that walks in our door, it takes about 2 years minimum for them to get to the point where they have changed their nutrition plan, that it's easy to eat, that they walk over and open the fridge, they grab a few things to eat for a meal. Right now, you guys are still in the mode of, what am I making for supper tonight? Is it gonna be, should I grab something from a Quick Trip? This just hurts me. Pull out a pizza, yes, not food guys, just not food. I forgot to tell you something. I'm going to skip back on the slide really quickly. On the bottom of the slide that I had with the labs that we do, I do want to offer to you guys, there is a QR to take a 2-minute root cause questionnaire. I forgot, most people will stop me at this slide and they will say, how do you know which test to do? How do you know which lab to recommend? I kind of gave you an outline on that, but there is, you can just QR code this, take the questionnaire. It triggers me to reach out to you and say, you maybe need to, or no, you're looking good. It gives me an idea of what test to recommend. Just that
So will the QR codes work on the
yes and
In our
no.
email?
Yes, in the email, exactly.
because they're not working on the paper. just
Yeah,
so
because it's
I
too
checked.
tiny. So yes, you will literally get those in the email, those links. The reason it jogged my memory is because this link is for all RHC, and it's really everybody, but we love you guys. RHC family, RHC patients. You have 30 days free of our meal planning app. I printed this one, this is just a 5-day one, but I printed this one out for you, but within our meal planning app, it's drag and drop and it's fun, and it prints out a grocery list and it prints out recipes, and you can play with it. You can say, I love carrots and I hate green beans, and it says, well, here's a list of 5 different things you could throw in there. So you have access to that. We have the QR code for you for that, so that you can start building your own nutritional plan. Where does inflammation come from? Do you have it in your system? Most likely. Where does it come from? The things that are ultra-processed products. It also comes from thoughts, toxins, and traumas. Traumas are usually short-term and your body can clear that stuff out. When inflammation stays in your system, it becomes chronic, then we need to start digging, but you guys can start today. Right now I want you to commit to yourself. Just start with one thing. Just start putting one food in your system to clear the inflammation out. The more bitter it is as a vegetable, the better it is in clearing things out. And right now is kohlrabi time, man. Get that into your system. That's one of your 4 to 5 you should have today. Start putting real foods into your system. Think about what it is that you're going to do. I'm going to force some detox and force some anti-inflammation into you today. I just have a couple of more slides, but these guys are prepping so that you get a taste of, I'm drooling. I've got homemade kimchi, which is a fermented food. it has probably 30 bugs in it already. So don't have an appendix, we're repopulating you guys tonight. And the pickled radishes, I told them not to open this up until the end because I'm going to be a little bit, hopefully not too offensive. We talk poop all day long. It's going to smell like farts because fermented food smells like what fermented food smells like, right? It tastes fantastic. You do not have to like it. You do not have to finish it. You do have to try it. I'm giving you my mom voice.
Did you give us the recipes?
I can. Will one of the two of you guys remember? It's so super simple. A little bit more complex on the kimchi, but what I'm going to send to you is something called cortido. Does anybody know what cortido is? Oh, I
Can you
can just
spell it?
C-O-R-T-I-D-O. Cortido. All it is you take any hard, so like root vegetables, any hard vegetables, you smash them into a jar and you put that, basically a pickling brine over it, let it ferment, so you're leaving it out on the counter and burping it for like 3 to 4 days, put it in the fridge. It's addicting. Don't let me forget guys, get them the cortido recipe. I like that one even better than kimchi. The same thing, anytime you ferment something like that, all the good bugs are in there, you're repopulating. Super, super simple, really easy to do this time of year. I do red onions. I'll get you the recipe. So it's fantastic. Next class, August 17th, Raising Resilient Families. August is our Family Fun Month. Who thinks I might be talking about nutrition? Anybody who's come to any of the classes. This one is kid-specific nutrition because they rule the house, don't they? Those picky eaters rule the house, and so that's what we'll be going over in August. And September is hormones. This one is a super important one, more female-specific. Thank you for there being so many gentlemen in here tonight. I have to tell you, and I usually have said this to the male gender, you guys are goats. You can eat tin cans and you still digest them. You have better bacteria. Part of the reason for that is because our hormones are what's messing with our bacteria. Okay? And chicken or the egg, the bacteria are messing with our hormones. And so who thinks I'll be talking about food when we're talking about hormones? But super, super important one. Those are our next 2 upcoming classes. Both the links for registering for those classes will be in the email also for you. It's loaded with information. Anybody who knows us knows we have mantras, and if you've been to any of the classes, once you know better, do better, and once you do better, you teach and serve. Thank you so much tonight, guys. It was fantastic. I hope you are smelling the wonderful things. The aroma, it kind of kills the gym aroma, which is fantastic. You have a ton of information. We do this so you can take notes. You have something you can start looking at. The recording is actually on the email, the link to watch the recording, so it takes us just a little bit to edit it. Within the next few days, you're going to get all of this emailed to you digitally. And if you have questions, reach out to us. Okay, please just ask. If anybody has questions that they need to answer, or if you filled out that question card, please just hand it off to us or leave it on the table because I can answer those in the email. And if you have comments like what is the next class I want, or I would have liked to have known about this, please complete those comment cards. Also, there's 2 sides to that one paper. That's a full-sided paper. Do that for us. It makes us better. We are able to serve and teach better if we know what you don't know, if we are able to find out what you want to know about. I'm not kicking you out of here, but I am moving you guys to go try the samples. If you did not get a guest bag, please let these guys know there's a ton of really fun stuff in there. And thank you so much for coming. Thank you guys.
I also have some of those Celtic sea salt samples. If you want, you just put a few pinches in your water, or
So you're getting your minerals. You can put it on your food.
morning.
Yes. I'm gonna put some under your tongue too. It actually is great for like when you have cravings. Just toss a little piece of that underneath your tongue. Like, oh, that's fantastic. Thanks. All my body needed was water and minerals, turns out.
Sorry if I smell
And it has iodine in it, right?
Yes, it does.
Okay.